Welcome to the Breath of God. This is a YouTube channel dedicated to teaching the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, and my name is Jeff Lewis, and I am your host. Today we are going to continue our study in the four Gospels of Jesus. In the previous lessons, we learned about the throne room of God and the alignment of heaven and earth regarding the revelation of Jesus. So in the throne room, which is revealed in both Ezekiel chapter 1 and John's revelation in chapter 4, we see the four living creatures with four faces, each protruding a distinct face. The face of a lion, the face of an ox, the face of a man, and the face of an eagle. Then when we move down to the tabernacle is a foreshadowing of the incarnation. Around the tabernacle, we have the 12 tribes of Jacob from his 4 wives, organized under 4 banners. On the east side, we have the lion. On the west side, we have the ox. On the south side, we have the banner of a man, and on the north side, that of an eagle. So you have the 12 tribes under 4 banners organized around the tabernacle in the exact same order as they are revealed in heaven. And then finally, you find the Gospels, the first 4 historical books of the New Testament, are organized under and in the same order as the revelation flowed from heaven to earth. Amazing. Last time we covered Matthew's Gospel. Matthew's Gospel is about Jesus, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. So we saw Jesus who fulfills the Old Testament law and prophets. Matthew's Gospel was first for the Jews. Now we come to Mark's Gospel. Mark's Gospel is the revelation of Jesus, the ox, or the servant. Mark's Gospel begins with the opening phrase, the beginning of the good news about Jesus, the Messiah, the Son of God. So this is about the Son of God who became the servant of all. So another key verse in Mark's Gospel is Mark 10:45, which reads, "For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many." So we see the sacrifice and the service of the Son of God. And Mark's Gospel is the shortest of all the Gospels. It's only 16 chapters, and it moves rapidly. The writer of this Gospel moves like a cameraman taking snapshots, just pictures. If he were on social media today, John Mark, the author of this book, probably would have been on Instagram, communicating the gospel via snapshots. Mark's Gospel repeats the phrase immediately 36 times. This is the Greek word for euthenos. Euthenos is a word that describes the actions that Jesus took. And the concordance number on this word, and please forgive my mispronunciation, is 2112. So we see this word first used in the first chapter, verse 10. And Mark continues to use this word throughout the entirety of his gospel. So this is translated in Mark 1:10. And immediately coming up from the water, he saw the heavens parting and the Spirit descending upon him like a dove. Then in 1:12, immediately the Spirit drove him into the wilderness. 18, they immediately left their nets and followed him. Mark 1:20, and immediately he called them and they left their father Zebedee in the boat. 1:21, then they went into Capernaum immediately. So you see immediately throughout this gospel. This gospel, you see that there is no delays in Jesus. There's nothing that can hinder the mighty and powerful servant. He heals every disease and sickness. He's able to drive out every demon. He can even walk on water. In the first half of Mark's gospel, we see Jesus' Galilean ministry. This is 1 through 9. And then in the second half of Mark's gospel, which is 10 through 16, this is the latter part of Jesus' ministry and his fateful journey up to Jerusalem to present himself as the Messiah. And we see this tragedy unfold. Jesus has presented himself as the Messiah. He's mighty to save and strong to deliver. There is nothing that Jesus can't do, no bondage that he can't break. And yet, when he comes up to present himself before the people at the capital, Jerusalem, he is rejected and ultimately crucified as a criminal. But that's not the end of the story. On the third day, he rises from the dead. Then the women go to anoint his dead body, and when they arrive, the angel has a special message to his disciples and Peter. This is important. Verse 7 reads, "But go and tell his disciples and Peter, he is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him just as he told you." So the angel calls out Peter specifically in this instance. This is a very special revelation we see in the Gospel of Mark. This is because John Mark probably had this gospel dictated to him by Peter. And Peter clearly had a special place in Jesus' heart. And it has all the hallmarks of Peter. The immediacy in which everything happens. Peter, as we know, was a man of action. Peter was not one to sit on his hands or to be contemplated. He was a man on the go. He was a businessman, and as a fisherman and a business owner, he was out catching fish, making deals. He was not one to delay. So you see in this gospel, the handprints of Peter are all over this, just in its literary form. Also remember, Peter was the first one to receive the revelation of the mission to the Roman world. The 3 sheets came down, and he was the first one to preach the gospel to the Roman centurion. And this gospel has the Roman citizen in mind as the main audience. So you have the author John Mark. His mom was Jewish. His father was a Gentile. and you have Peter, the man of action, with his handprints all over it. So this would have conveyed to the Roman power, authority, which was very important to the Roman reader to see. John Mark almost leaves scriptural fulfillment completely out of his book. There are instances where he mentions fulfillment of Scripture, but that doesn't appear to be his focus. Again, he uses the word immediately again and again and again. He's trying to convey a message about the power and the service and the might of Jesus. And then you even, when you get to the resurrection and the commission, this is a very short section here, and it's as if the Lord worked right away with signs, wonders, and miracles right once he got to heaven. Mark doesn't mention the period of time between the crucifixion, the resurrection, and Pentecost. He gets right to the point and showing the power of Jesus, who once was the servant, but was exalted to the highest place, the place above all power, above all authority. The name that is above every name is Jesus. And he gets right to that place. So he opens with the beginning of the gospel of Jesus and the Lord emerging on the scene, working with power and might, and then dying, being crucified, rising from the dead, and then ascending to the highest place over all authority, even over the Caesars of the world at this time. He is the humble yet mighty servant, as seen in the ox. Next time we'll go into Luke's gospel, which is the humanity of Jesus. Thank you for listening to the breath of God, and remember that his breath is our calling. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Bye.